Grand Rising. It is 10 a.m., 10 something-ish. What's today, the 26th? I don't know, it's Sunday, and I'm on the stair stepper at Planet Fitness up here on Goodway. And I just want to talk some stuff out, okay? First things first, no beef, bitch. I just love you. Okay. The other thing I want to say, please miss me with this doomsday nonsense. Okay? Hear me out. So, it's 2025. Trump's president again. All these goons are in the cabinet. And if you are like, I voted for Trump, I'm really excited for this administration. Fine, that's totally cool. Whatever. What I'm talking to are the people that are really terrified, justifiably so, and really anxious about this administration. Because either immigration, body rights, medical access, the fact that every single thing is going to become at least 3 times more expensive because of the tariffs, specifically on China, and everything in America is made in China, and also all the other stuff about AI or DEI, like diversity, equity, and inclusion, the Department of Education, all my teachers, all my students, anyone who relies on IEPs, individualized education plans, anyone with any type of learning disability, anyone on the autism spectrum, which is all of us. Yeah, so I'm talking to those people. And I want to say that fear is not bad. It's not wrong. But it is not a place, it's not an emotion from which to make decisions, okay? It is an emotion that tells us we need to check in with ourselves. We need to be really present with our surroundings and our support systems, or lack thereof. Fear is a call to presence. That's how I understand it. So, if we think about fear in that way, and we think about anger as how is this trying to care for me, as opposed to how do I fight, we can really open up space to actually identify what the problem is and be really creative about potential solutions. What do I mean? What I mean is, when you're pissed off and you say the first thing that comes to your mind, it's typically not the fullness of how you feel. It's how you get into cycles of abuse. You're like, oh, he didn't mean it. Oh, she didn't mean it. Oh, they didn't mean it. Okay, well then why'd you say it? If out of the heart the mouth speaks, that means some part of you believes it. And that's not bad or good. It is. And if we allow ourselves to have these complex, even contradictory thoughts, feelings, and desires, we have more grace for ourselves and more grace for others, because we're able to see them as complicated humans. We're able to hear them, what they actually mean versus what they actually say. I'm not saying live in a daydream reality where you make up what other people mean and you ignore what actually came out of their mouth. You make excuses for them. That's another way the abuse cycle continues. We are not gaslighting ourselves. No. You don't gaslight yourself from yourself. You don't gaslight yourself from others or to others. But what I really wanted to say was, when it comes to all this fear mongering about, ew, gross, so sorry, definitely gonna leave that there. Clearing out my mucous membrane. I took my sea moss this morning, and I smoked a lot of blunts last night. That's why I'm working on my cardio. I have pole dance later today. This is just like, I don't know, extra cardio because I'm a highly energetic, well, let's just say it, I'm a manic person, which is fine. Anyway, snot bubbles and all, y'all. It's the real SLiNK. All right, what are they saying? Oh, okay, fear mongering, okay? The reason why I think it's bullshit that people are like, this administration is terrifying. We have a neo-Nazi in office. I would say, then what the fuck was Reagan? Yeah. What the fuck was Bush? Either of them. Any of the Bushes. They were like, Obama wasn't a neo-Nazi. Obama was a house nigga. I love Obamacare. Look, that shit gets me my little checkup for my eyes and my teeth. Every year, once a year, pay $50. Boom. Nice. But drone warfare? That's fucked up. It's really fucked up. That's why Gaza was so fucked up. Okay? And they're already using that on us, okay? They're already using infrared technology and drone technology to decimate homes, tear families apart, and continue the war on drugs, which has absolutely decimated my family and continues to do so, including with the war on terror. And all of those were before Trump. So I'm really confused. People are like, it's the worst. We've never been prepared for this. I need you to know, America has been slaughtering its own kind since the foundation of America. So I don't understand this. Gotta get into fear. If you see a black person ever, that is proof that resistance works. That is proof that change is possible. If you know anyone who has ever made a choice, then you know that choice is power. Choice is freedom. So when we are over here being like, our rights, they're being threatened. Stand up, motherfucker. It's all on you. What did that sign say? If you see a bully and you say nothing, you're a bully. Type shit, bro. Type shit. Like, things only continue when we allow them. And I know that seems like super common sense, but there's no need to complicate these things. I know that conflict resolution is not immediate. So we have to be done with that impatience, which is why they push consumer culture so strong in the West. Because then no one knows how long it actually takes to make a thing. They don't understand that the reason why the Jewish dollar circulates in their economy 14 days as opposed to the black dollar circulating a maximum of 3 hours in the black community. The reason there's such a disparity, the Jews are organized. The Holocaust happened and they didn't hit the streets being like, give me a handout. They organized. They just fucking appeared, got their shit together, came back 3 times stronger. I'm not saying that Jews don't have a struggle. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not anti-Semitic, and I'm not a Zionist. Free Palestine. But, love me some Jews. Love me some Sabbath. And I do love the Passover. Delicious. Challah bread is just mwah. However, all I'm trying to say is we have to organize. If you give into doom, that is a privilege. That is a privilege, that is a privilege, that is a privilege. If you give into doom, it is a sign of your ignorance. It is a sign of your disconnect from history. And I will remind you this, my people die for lack of knowledge. So, ignorance may be bliss, but it's also why, I was gonna say a really graphic example that was quite personal. But I'm not trying to do shock factor, clickbait, nonsense. I don't think you have to like romanticize or like over dramatize anything just to prove a point. I think that again is part of the conditioning of consumer culture, where everything has to go right now. So we don't actually know how long things take, like fitness, improving your cardio, or how long it actually takes to raise a cow to have a really delicious, healthy burger. I'm a vegan, I won't ever eat it, but I grew up hunting. So I know how it, like, what it actually takes to skin a deer, to gut a deer, and to prepare a deer. Like, so when you have people like trying to be activists or provide any type of critical thought or critique to the current situation, I pick up on so much impatience. And the thing that I look to, why I'm always going back to Black resistance, is because it's so specific to America, right? Like, the civil rights movement, these people did, after Rosa Parks on the bus, that wasn't just Rosa Parks, they walked for nearly 400 days protesting the bus. 400 days. Y'all get irritated if your traffic adds 15 minutes to your home, like to your ETA. Do you see what I'm saying? All this capital I individualism has completely polluted and perverted our notion of not just what's possible, but how to get to a thing. We don't even know how to validate baby steps. And I don't mean celebrate the bare minimum, okay? It's not participation trophies all around, okay? Because that's the same type of instant gratification bullshit, okay? Two sides to the same coin, okay? And I think a lot about the capital I. Sylvia Wynter wrote about this in the 40s. Amazing Black writer, a very academic philosopher. But she wrote about the overuse of the word man and how that convoluted our sense of what it means to be human when we refer to human as man. What does that actually do to our psyche? What does that do to our society when we normalize certain things? And I think that's really fascinating, because if you know anything about linguistics, it's all about how the language shapes the mind, right? That's not all it's about, but to me, that's what's really fascinating about language. When you learn a new language, you really want to learn how they think, because that helps you understand the grammar, engage in the vocabulary with more speed, and you'll learn it quicker. When I was learning German, it was really helpful because my mind already functions in a German way, which I didn't know until I learned German. And I was like, oh, that's why English, even though it's my native language, can feel really hard for me. So I don't think in an English way. I make up words all the time. What's wonderful about the German language is you can combine it to make new words like that. And if you are describing a situation, you can be hyper specific about it. And even if you're talking to a person who had never experienced that situation, you, by saying that exact turn of phrase or sentence or word, they would know exactly what you mean and exactly what you're talking about, which is awesome. Then you have other languages like Mandarin or Japanese that have like super specific characters and feelings and philosophies that cannot be translated. They simply cannot. And that is also fascinating. They also use the same word to describe or respond to many different scenarios, and it's all about tone and context. So you have to be really present. Also in German, you don't know what someone's talking about till the end of the sentence. So you can't even interrupt. You literally have no idea what they're saying until they're done talking. Because that's the nature of German. And do you like, maybe that's not enough of an example, but to me that's a phenomenon on how we set ourselves up for failure when we don't actually think about what we're thinking about, when we aren't actually connected to words. I also believe that's why they made English the dominating language, specifically for business, because so many lies can happen that way. English is so removed from context, and it's so removed from clarity. You have to speak in monologues and be like hyper, and what I mean by that is this, comma that, comma this, like 17 line run-on sentences, monologues, in order to really articulate what you mean. Shakespeare is a perfect example of that. I also believe that's why poetry can be so potent. It's because it can really like fuck with the English mind. I also believe that's why English-speaking countries, specifically America, are so dependent on images and media. And I think that's also why they are so intent on using divisive language in the media and saying things that can be taken minimum 4 different directions. They provide the least amount of context possible with the most trigger words possible. For what? For attention. It's an attention economy. The same way it's a debt economy. Because you can't buy certain things unless you have credit. And if you don't have credit, you aren't eligible for X amount of things. If you pay off your credit with all your money, you fuck your credit because you didn't do it in a plan. And so then they're like, oh, how dare you get yourself out of debt? Boo for you. Debt economy, okay? Everything is functioning on IOU. That's how all those car dealerships and banks were bailed out in the 2008 recession. Nobody gives a shit how much money is actually in your bank account. It's all about how much attention you can garner. Elon Musk, Trump, Dr. Oz, that's why all these people are there. They are inflammatory. And so what I want to talk about is inflammation. When we talk about liberation, it starts in the body. It starts in the self, lowercase I. Community. Liberation is not a single person thing. And that is why I am against the narrative that we have around MLK Day or even Black History Month. Because we always want to highlight individuals, which is a very American thing. And we don't talk enough about how these individuals never worked alone. They were always surrounded by packs of people, herds of people. Like, there are so many revolutionary leaders, and they never once acted like solitary agents. And I think, even though they broke off, like Malcolm X broke off from MLK, they still didn't work against each other. And they still wouldn't have said, oh, I'm the leader of this movement, the way like Napoleon would, or like Mussolini, or Trump. Okay? And so, we talk about inflammation. It starts in the self. You want to calm that, right? That's again, when you react out of fear versus responding to your fear. Reacting out of anger versus responding to your anger. And what I mean by that is, it looks very different if you get pissed off by something, to sit there and be like, wait, why did that piss me off? Let me think it through. I don't mean that you don't know yourself and you should question yourself 24/7, but I am saying we are brainwashed empire babies, and it would behoove us to take a pause and think. That's media literacy. Is this a bot? Is this clickbait? I need to do some research? Is this even a real article? You know, like, that is, instead of being inflammatory, this pissed me off or this scared me, let me take a breath, because I'm nervous about my safety. And if I'm nervous about my safety, that means I need to check in with my surroundings. I need to check in with my capabilities. I need to check in with my support structures. Because if we know a storm is coming, but we have prepared in all the ways, we have our sandbags, we have our water, we have our canned goods, we have our generator, we have our flashlight, then let's cuddle up. Let's hunker down and play a game, baby. Put on the candles, crack a can of beans. That's it. And I think we also have forgotten how powerful humanity is when we work with nature. Like, everything we have, we made it. Everything that exists is from a human hand or is somehow connected to each other. So we definitely have solutions. We definitely have power. We definitely have navigated more intense struggles before. If Europe can survive the fucking plague and there's no shortage of white people, if Africans can survive the transcontinental slave trade and then all the horrendous murder and state-sanctioned slaughter that occurs to this day, and you can see black folk walking around, why in the fuck would you just give your power away and be like, well, I'm gonna just go now, or, well, that's the end, well, moving to Canada. Moving does not change anything. You're still on this earth. We're still all connected. Global catastrophe one place is global catastrophe everywhere. Okay? The fires in California are directly related to the blizzard in Atlanta. Is directly related to the genocide of Gaza. Is directly related to the decimation of Sudan. Is directly connected to the decimation of the rainforest in Brazil. Is directly connected to the way we have completely abandoned and decimated Puerto Rico. Okay? You can't just be like, I'm out. Because guess what? Matter cannot be created or destroyed. Suicide ain't gonna save you. I said it. I said it. It's not. It can't. And I have another theory, but I'll probably write that one out because I think that was enough for today. But yeah, take care of your inflammation. Cayenne pepper is very soothing for the body. Yes, I know it might be counterintuitive, but it reduces inflammation in the whole body. So does sea moss, not pool grown, not the gel. But before I digress and get all health nerd on you hoes, I'm gonna ramp up this cardio. So I've only been at level 6. We're at 27 minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to get some thoughts out. Thanks for being with me and my fluids. I love you all. Let me know if you hated this. Let me know why. Let me know if you love this. Let me know why. Let me know if you have any things you would rather you hear me talk about or things you want me to research. Yeah. I will see you all soon. I hope your 2025 is off to a powerful start. Remember the seeds that we plant between now and April and all the seeds we planted in 2024 are leading to a karmic completion cycle this spring around April, setting the tone for the next 20 years of your life. If not now, then when, baby? If not you, then who? Hooty hoo. Whew. I'm going to record was listening back to the video, and I'm going to add this into the end of the video, because I had some thoughts that I would like to clarify, because I was breathing heavy and I jumped over some stuff. I want to be clear that I am not denying the fact that climate crisis is real and that we have never been closer to global catastrophe ever before in history. I mean, I really hesitate to say things like ever before in history, but because what I'm referring to specifically when I say that is the atomic like doomsday clock of like for how to prepare for like nuclear war, and acknowledging that like, you know, dumping billions of dollars worth of ammunition and like just decimating the ocean floor for internet cables and oil is like irrevocably changing the entire framework of Earth. Like, I am not at all trying to belittle that. Like, that is so very true. But what I'm saying is, like, running around with like a chicken with your head cut off does not put your head back on. You know, like, we cannot be in a state of reaction and expect that to save us or equip us. It just comes down to daily decisions of like the type of person you want to be, and the type of things that you are not going to allow to continue. And because the thing that you guys have to really remember, because most of my audience is American, okay? Your money is how we got here. And I don't care if you're like, but I'm 12, like I just got here. Yes, baby. Yes, we all did. And the future is yours. And you matter, okay? Like, your choices matter. We see this with boycotts. We see this with strikes. We see this with, like, this is the whole reason they do advertisements, honey, is because they need you, okay? The hotel can run those deals because an empty room is the most expensive room, okay? So that's just what I mean by, like, why question your power, or giving into doomsday narrative is actually how you make doomsday happen, okay? We cannot use the master's tools to tear down the master's house. So trying to like use fear and statistics and money and escapism or neocolonialism or some kind of like anxiety to soothe fear, anxiety, or scarcity does not make sense. Moving countries doesn't save your country. It might help immediately get your family out of harm. I'm a transplant in Cincinnati. My mom moved us out of Florida because we were in grave danger because of the war on drugs and because of gang affiliations and the fact that the south of Florida is a really scary place. It can be, and it's very under-resourced. Education is lacking. So much racism, so much systemic oppression, so much sexism, so much suspicion, but also so much love, so much community, and so much unfair treatment. And also the South, specifically that part of the Bible Belt of the South, was completely abandoned after the Emancipation Proclamation. And it was decimated, just like the global South, just used for its resources, turned into a retirement home for snow bunnies who never give a shit about anyone but their own lineage. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we can't just like see a problem in our community and be like, well, I gotta get my kids to a better school district. Like, what? And that's what I mean by like giving in to doomsday is a privilege. Like, the people that actually got taken in the Holocaust didn't have the same resources as the Jews who were able to escape. And that's not a shit stain on the Jews who were able to escape, but it is an acknowledgement that, like, we left people behind. And I'm also going to acknowledge Harriet Tubman, shout out her, shot babies in the face because they were crying and they had to get away from slave masters. Like, no one's hands are clean in the revolution. And that's what I mean about having grace for each other and like allowing ourselves to understand that this liberation thing that we're talking about, this freedom thing that we're talking about, this save the earth from global or from climate catastrophe or like nuclear war, like is a slow process that takes daily decisions, and it literally comes down to silly little things like getting the upgrade just because it's free for your new phone. Don't do it. Or I am a huge supporter of theft because I don't believe it to be theft. I go to Kroger and I steal all the time, but I don't believe that is theft. And we can talk about that in a whole other way, because where does theft start and where does it end? Let's be so fucking real. But when I go to Friendly Market, I'll drop hundreds of dollars on those little farmers. Like, take it, honey, please. But I don't know. What I'm saying is, like, compromise starts and ends with us. Liberation starts and ends with us. And when I say us, I truly mean us. Like, the cells in your body are all working towards a goal. If you're sick, it's because your body's trying to be healthy. So if we thought of ourselves as the cells of Earth, how would that change how we think about ourselves? Would we force ourselves to go to work when we feel like shit? Would we force ourselves to do what we know is good for us so that we don't have to stay in a depressive funk? I don't know. I don't think there is any like cut and dry to this. I just thought that deserved a little bit of clarity. I don't think that there's easy answers to this. I don't think there should be. But I do think though that Doomsday is not the answer. I do think that we are capable. I do think we've been here before. The astrology signifies that we have been here before many times. This is why I say history. Know your roots. Ask questions. Anything worth standing on can and should be tested. If anything gets triggered that you're testing it, take note. Yeah, I don't want to like over-talk this or over-beat this, because this is the type of thing that requires marination and meditation. And yes, I mean marination, because you have to sit in it. Something about sitting in uncomfort is really important. Not to the point that you get like nerve damage, but there's something so beautiful that happens to our fascia, the connecting tissue of literal light that runs throughout the entirety of the body. Those little white strips that you see in muscle drawings, that's called fascia, and it's literally light. And there's something so wonderful that happens to our fascia, and we soothe our nervous system when we allow ourselves to sit in things that we initially think are uncomfortable, and then we can open up to it. And we expand and spread and do something that's kind of like osmosis, where we like ooze into ourselves. Yeah, beautiful, powerful, poetic metaphors.